How is everybody? And today we are talking about extension. Yes, April 18 is coming up, and many people are scrambling. Many people are procrastinators. That's just our nature, right? We like to procrastinate. And now we talk about extension. A lot of times folks are thinking of extension in the more negative arena, thinking extension is not good, should not file extension. And in this webinar, in the next 30 minutes, I'll give you some new thinking about extension to clarify a couple of things, what happens if you don't file extension. All right, so let's take a look at our website. And this is our website, communitycpa.com. And you know that we have a lot of knowledge here. You can literally do an appointment with us right here. And you see how I click the appointment, then the list of the partner would come up, and you can actually book time right there with the partner and to ask your questions. This is very convenient. We have a lot of activities online. And our firm, because of how we socialize with you on YouTube, so we have a lot of clients coming from all over the country. So one of the most effective way is to meet us online. And all our webinar content are not lost. And you don't have to worry about, I can't make it 3 p.m. Ying, 3 p.m. is never a good time for me. Why are you not doing it some other time? Don't worry about that, my dear. And you can go to youtube.com, and our channel name is Community CPA. If you just type Community CPA under YouTube channel, you'll find us. And all of our webinars are posted here after we finish. And we cut off some, areas where, the last few webinars I did, I had COVID, so I coughed a little bit. And those webinars, we cut them off and make it cleaner. But it is the content I was giving you, and is there. Now, let's go to what I prepared for you, folks. And today, we are talking about extension, whether I should file extension, if I file, what that means, and what kind of benefit do I have, really, file extension. So let's go through that, especially for small business owners. And you cannot simply think that, my business can wait. I'm going to, just file my taxes on time, and I'll deal with my business later. I'll tell you that it doesn't matter what kind of business you are running and what kind of business structure you have. The business has to be done first before you file 1040. And it's regardless, and you can give me a million examples why your business can be separated from your 1040. You don't have to wait for your business to file your 1040. And I'll debate you to tell you that what you think is not as simple, okay? And, right before we do the content of talking, I always introduce myself to you. And I always have new followers coming online. And welcome to Community CPA channel. And my name is Ying Sa. That's how you call me. And you can just call me Ying. And I am the CEO and a managing partner at Community CPA. And we are a regular CPA firm, regional firm. So we cover Midwest by large. And because of our social media outreach, so we actually have a branch in our internal world we call remote, because you are from all over the place. We literally cover all of the state. And last I count, just 3 states I don't have any clients, and we have clients all over the country. And I actually served on National Taxpayer Advocacy Panel for 3 years. That is this 3 years time. I devoted my time. I actually got a letter from the president recognizing the volunteer work I did and providing advices to IRS along with other committee members. So it was a fun endeavor for 3 years. And you can definitely contact me via our website. And the other thing I want you to know is I wrote a book in 2019 called Appointment with Ying at 8 a.m. That book was just to talk about how you began a business. But the second book I just finished, it is going to publish soon. That one is called Appointment with Ying at 10 a.m. Is how to grow your business. So different. There are people good at starting but doesn't know how to grow. And there are also people that really don't know how to start, but they have the skill to grow. Those are the people who would buy a established business and run it. And those are, people skills are coming in different stages. And you as a person, you may be an entrepreneur who start the business, but you may not be the one who keep the business. But vice versa, you may be the entrepreneur, keep the business, but you're not so good at getting it started. But this book is just talk about the qualities, the things, the stories that you can learn from me meeting so many clients. We have over 12,000 clients, and that is the knowledge that I can share with you. Of course, internet is a free places for free knowledge. So take responsibility of what you learn. And then we have this slides right here, says no responsibility disclaimer. That simply said, you want to make sure you really understand before you apply the knowledge. What is an extension? Filing a tax extension, that is to basically ask IRS, hey, can I submit my taxes late? So the two forms that you use to file extension for personal is 4868. For companies is 7004. So those are the two forms to give IRS indicator that, hey, I want to submit my tax late. And most extension, it is honored automatically. We call that automatic extension. You don't really need approval from IRS. You don't need IRS to, you don't need to explain to IRS why I want to file extension. So you just go ahead and file. As long as you file timely, one of the issue will get resolved. Because if you don't file extension, you would receive a charge called late filing penalty. That late filing penalty can be as much as 25% of what you owe. So making sure that you file extension to avoid at least one late filing penalty. And the people tend to ask that, okay, if I file extension, what exactly time I will be giving by IRS to file later? So the general thought is 6 months. So you just think of 6 months, and in 1040 and the Schedule C cases, so we move from April 15 normal due date to what? To October 15. See, that's a 6 months, right? So same thing with the company. There's two types of company filing due date. One is pass-through entities like 1120S and 1065. Those are the ones you had a due date already, March 15, remember? And if you file extension on those ones, it will be pushed to September 15. Of course, C corporation is a little different. They're like the 1040. The extended due date goes all the way to October 15. So 6 months. And if you have a C Corp, sometimes your C Corp ends in a different month, not necessarily December. So your due date would be, your first due date is the 15th, April 15th, 4 month, 0.5, right? January, February, March, and April 15 is your due date, 3.5. And then when you extend, you add 6 months. So you just want to count 3.5 for your initial due date, then you can add 6 months. Then you know what is the due date for your fiscal year 1120C filing. So these due dates are pretty regular. The time length is given, and there's no creativity over that, and you know what you're going to have it do, right? And then I want to say that what kind of penalty are we saving if we file extension properly? So here are the 3 common penalties that you would see. So the first one is a failure to file. Failure to file is simply says that April 18 is 1040 due day, and you didn't file extension, you just did not file. Then later on, you file your 1040 for 2022. Say you filed in May. Then you will incur failure to file penalty because you did not file extension. You just simply decided that you can file late. No, the government don't like that, and they charge you for failure to file. And of course, if you don't file extension, you probably also don't know whether you owe taxes or not. So what we want people to do is, before you file the extension, you still want to estimate what kind of taxes you have. Like for the C corporation and 1040, those are the with extension. So that way you know that you won't be charged with failure to pay. You get away with that too, right? And the failure to pay proper estimated tax, this is another penalty that comes around very often. And let me quickly explain to you, why would you even have estimated tax penalty? That is because, if you have estimated tax penalty right now when you do 2022 taxes, that is because you owe taxes. You made a payment in 2021. IRS don't like people to make tax payment on the tax due date. IRS said that you already know in 2021 you had more taxes to pay based on your withholding, based on your information. You should have started doing estimated tax for 2022, and now you owe again, we're going to charge you. So that is what failure to pay proper estimated tax. When you don't pay enough tax due for the year with your quarterly estimated tax payment or through withholding, when required, you pay penalty. So making sure that if you have a year, let's say every year you're getting a refund, is not an issue. But if you paid taxes in 1 year, you want to be careful because next year, that is waiting for you. So paying taxes on time and paying taxes on time doesn't mean pay it on April 18. It means that you would getting some refund back because you paid a quarterly payment throughout the year. So this is something that folks, you want to pay attention to. Of course, I have entrepreneurs, business owners tell me that, Ying, I don't mind because I want to use the money for my business. And sure, I'm paying for estimated tax payment, but that's okay. It's like a bank interest. I either borrow from the bank or I'm just going to owe to IRS. That's okay. And it is a penalty they charge, but it is not a trigger for you to get audited. So it's just a way that IRS manage their money, right? If you are not paying in tax dollars, basically you're using IRS money to do your own things. So IRS charges you some penalty interest. That's just understandable. Now, you may say that, well, I have no reason to delay tax filing, and the only reason I delay my tax filing need extension is my preparers could never get anything done on time. That is one of the common reasons, but there's also other reasons you would delay your tax filing. You might be, you might be having a life event. For example, someone die, get married, a newborn baby, and all of these things could make you feel chaotic at this time, and you just need to file extension to calm down before you deal with taxes, right? And another reason for small business owners is when you start a business or when you close out a business. I say that because it has so much to do with 1040. You may say that, well, Ying, I lost the money and, I don't need to pay taxes. Why? It has so much to do with my 1040. Oh, big deal. It has a big deal impact on your 1040. So let's look at my next slide, okay? So this is a scenario I put out here. It is not the only scenario, but it's a scenario I want to wake you up. I want you to realize that when you lose money in business, it has a lot to do with your 1040. If you close your business, for example, if you close your business in 2022, and you want to finish up your business balance sheet first before filing 1040. So this is what I am saying. You want to finish your business balance sheet first before you file 1040. For example, if you have a C Corp, you close it. Your business is worth $100,000, but when you close it, you literally just trashed it. That $100,000 is gone, and you could not get it back. Nobody wants to buy it from you, and you lost $100,000. Right here, this $100,000 can be a deduction for your 1040 in that year of closing, and can offset the W-2 you made from your regular job. So let's say you had a regular job pays you $100,000 W-2. Then you close out your business and then you lose $100,000. This $100,000 would qualify for Section 1244, which is direct offset of your regular income. That means that year you did not make any income. Imagine all of the withholding you had in the W-2 will what? Come back to you. So you got a refund. So you can't tell me that business closures has nothing to do with you. No, you want to really reconcile your business closure. In business, the loss is just like a bank deposit. It's no difference. Okay? Your bank deposit, if it is income, you pay a percentage for taxes. But if it is a loss, you save a percentage in taxes. So really, it has this effect that a lot of small business owners, when they lost their business or when they closed their business, they just kind of disappointed. They walk away. They bear the bad news. They don't even want to talk about it. That is so wrong. You at least need to talk about it with your tax preparer. Okay? So that's why I want to give you an example so that you know when you do your tax return, if your business is closing and you're not sure what you should do and you're trying to get a hold of Ying and she's not available, then I want you to file extension. File extension, wait for me. So we can come back and look at your situation, see what we can do for you to file your tax correctly. And the pros to file extension, so many pros to file extension. If you know you will be late anyway, file extension will reduce late penalty. We talked about that, right? And the extra time to make an election. This is a point that I want to explain further. If you file extension for 1040, and let's say you are running a Schedule C sole proprietorship, LLC, single member LLC, and you just made a lot of money, and that's why you file extension, because you just feel like you don't have money to pay for taxes. So if you file the extension, that gives the tax professionals to file a late election for you. We can move that company out of your Schedule C into S Corp and to have that be deducted and be reconciled so you don't end up paying a lot of taxes on Social Security, Medicare. We're talking about 15% of tax differences here. So it is worth of working in depth with a professional. And of course, if you file extension, you also extend 3-year statute limitation to get your tax refund back. And you probably heard of 3 years tax statutory limitation, which means that if IRS come to audit you, they can audit you only for 3 years, and they cannot go unlimited to your childhood, start to audit you. They can only do 3 years. So right now, IRS could audit 2020, 2021, and 2022. Okay, actually right now they can audit 2019 as well, because we are not on the April 18 yet for 2022. As soon as we're over April 18, April 18, 2022 will be in the audit. 2019 will be dropping in general. Okay, but if you filed extension, what happened is, this statutory limitation also applies for refund. So for example, if you didn't file your taxes in 2020, but actually after you finish the tax filing, you're due to a refund from IRS, then you want to get the money, right? But if you did not file extension, folks, if in 2020 you didn't file extension, and by April 18, you can't get that money anymore, because the refund also expires. So if you file extension, you actually give 6 more months for yourself to get the refund if you did not file those returns, right? So 3-year statutory limitation applies both to audit and also tax refund. So we're just saying that if you file extension, it just gives you more time to get money back. Continue. So filing extension, and you can fund certain retirement plans. For example, you know how you can buy IRA before the tax filing due date, and you can still contribute that to 2022. So for example, if you bought a $6,000 IRA, traditional IRA, you actually can save about $1,200 taxes in 2022. So what we are saying is, if you file extension, that $6,000, let's say you don't have it right now, but you know that you're going to have it in the summer, and you want to save this $1,200 taxes, then you file extension, you can contribute that later. So you also extended your time to put in money in your retirement. So this is what we're saying. So extension helps you with that. And also when you file extension, especially if you work with the tax preparers, they're so extremely busy right now, and you give them the tax document 5 days before due date, not a good idea. File extension, give them time to really get your taxes done. I always tell folks that I know delaying on things, filing extension, sometimes getting on our nerve. It feels like, man, we just want to get it done. We don't care, right? And a lot of times that attitude is good, to get it done, we don't care, so we can go forward. For taxes, folks, that is one area in life you would never take that attitude. You want to make sure it is done accurately, comfortably for you. Then you can sleep, because every one of us, including President Trump, and we are all subject to be audited by IRS, right? I know President Trump was special, so he wasn't audited by IRS, even though he said he was, but he was not. So, but in theory, we all have the chance to be audited. So, with that said, hear me. So, extension is not that bad, and that can help you with a little bit better time management. All right. So let's see, and how your business might give you reason to delay 1040. So I want to retouch up a couple of points here. As a business owner, your 1040 need to be delayed. How and why? Okay, if you start a business and are making a decision on what kind of tax structure you're going to be in, let's say you started a business in 2022. Right now, you haven't filed your 1040. This is a good opportunity to look at your business to see whether that tax structure is really good for you, okay? But if you filed 1040, then pretty much you don't have freedom to decide on your business, and it is already set in stone because your 1040 is already filed, right? And there is still time to change tax structure before filing your first tax return for your business. So you set up a business in 2022 and you set up as an LLC, but you could very well file C Corp, you could very well file S Corp, you could very well file a Schedule C, disregarded entity. So there's so many opportunities on the first year to decide what you want to do. And also, on top of that, what I also find out our folks is that when they start up a small business, they probably already practice for a little bit. For example, the one of the example I gave is this guy who does the cleaning, and he already cleaned for many, many years. Then because the business is picking up, so he started doing a official business cleaning business company. But all of the equipment and stuff he has, and he didn't even have a price. So he should move the value into the new company, depreciate that. Am I right? So those are the things, folks. Maybe you just did not think about it. And coming into professional, it definitely going to help. So these are the reasons for small business owners to kind of know delaying your 1040 is meaningful because you have all of these reasons. And 1040 need to be filed when all company returns are filed. This is our company policy. We have taxpayers coming in goes, I'll file my personal tax elsewhere. You just need to file my company taxes. And they themselves splitting that up, thinking they're not related. Wrong. And we always tell our client that we don't really care what you think about why you want to take your 1040 out, but the right thing to do is to file your 1040 and your business in one place and under one set of eyes so people can tell you what is the best movement between the company and the personal. And if you have major life changes recently, this is really the time you need to think about filing extension, because when you, for example, we have a case where husband and wife got divorced in this particular year. So by December 31st that year, they are divorced. So they file returns separately, right? But a lot of tax documents are still coming in like jointly. So that year, these two were filing taxes with some documents being doubled. So with that, we always recommend our client that you want to wait to file your return. If you have such a bad relationship with your ex, you don't even talk to each other, then you know that your ex is gonna file right away. Let them do. And then what you do is then you will be going to IRS and to research on what was filed, what was not, then you can file yours properly. By doing so, you must file extension to have enough time for the data to be within IRS. So those are the things, give you good reason why you need to file extension. Of course, you will say that, really? That's all the reasons you tell me? So I have the one last best reason saved at the very end of this talk. But let's talk about what's not so good about filing extension. If you file extension, the mark-to-market election professional trader does not advance. So make the election by the original due date. You can't do election. You just cannot file extension then thinking, I can do mark-to-market later on. No, that one has to go with the original due date. And sometimes if you file extension and you may not know exactly what you owe yet. So when you file extension and you didn't pay enough, then that triggers you to have more payment penalty. That's possible. And also, if you need data for loan application and school FAFSA kind of data, and you don't have, you filed extension, sometimes the school, the agent, they don't like that. They are forcing you to get it done. So those are the things that make us not like extension. But I have to say to you, it is legally correct. No one should force you to file taxes on the original due date. Let's say if it is a government agency was trying to evaluate whether you can get the grant or not, they're asking you for tax return. And if that tax return filed extension, they have no right to say that, well, we're not going to consider you because you didn't file your taxes by the original due date. That would be illegal. That would be wrong. But I understand some private organizations, they don't care. They just want it. So you want to work with them, then you need to get your taxes filed on time. That's understandable. But as long as you touch this government organization, they all respect you file extension. They would just want a copy of extension to make sure you did that. That's all they need. And then, of course, filing extension, if you are getting a refund, you're not going to get it right away. So that makes you have this anxiety over the refund. So that could be a disadvantage. And, sometimes you don't want to file extension because your return is so straightforward. You don't have a business and you're thinking about the business, but it's not there yet. So many reasons it's not a good fit for filing extension. But one last very strong reason I have for you to file extension. I'll tell you a secret. A lot of our clients are doing this. So this is an invention coming out of Community CPA. For 20-some years, we are practicing this way. So we call that data match. Okay? So filing extension to do a match to IRS record. So very simple. IRS receives data from third party. So they got your trading history. They got the bank sending them notifications. You deposit a couple $1,000 cash. They also got your W-2 copy, and they also have your retirement distribution. IRS is amazing. They have everything about you under your Social Security number. Imagine if you know what they have first before you file your return, what your feeling gonna be. Nice, right? I just have a cup of coffee, but if it is a glass of whiskey, I would just drink it. So it is great if you could see what IRS has about you before you file taxes. So that's where the idea comes from. So match to IRS record. This is the best way to do audit prevention. And those folks who has done taxes with HR Block, remember they were charging some money for peace of mind. That's what they called. And they're saying that you pay this, if you get audited, we're going to do, certain hours for free and things like that, right? That is a passive prevention because they're not doing anything. They just collect your money hoping that you're not getting audited. But what we are doing here is proactive prevention because we go into IRS system and download your data. Then we will match to what you give me, and we will tell you that, hey, perfect, we didn't miss anything. But last year, we had 2 clients, and when we did the match, we discovered gold. One of them is a doctor in New York, but he got unemployment insurance claim from a totally different state. Someone was using her maiden name to claim unemployment benefit. If you don't do data match, how would you even know? How would you know your ID is being used for unemployment claim? And these brilliant doctors and having such a successful business would no way ever go on unemployment. So that is a story. The other one, a business owner, and got over $700,000 interest income that was sent by mistake to IRS by a service provider. How would she even know that? She would never know. But if we file taxes with what she gave us without knowing that, what do you think? She'll be audited. 100%. So those are the data match power. And in today's environment, there's so much fraud going on. And the people using your identity to do things. And I have one client about 10 years ago, and he has to change his social security number. It was totally stolen. People were buying, selling houses under his social security number. And he ended up with such a big trouble with IRS. And we worked on his case for years. At the end, we finally got going through Social Security Administration, changed his social security number. Can you believe that? So that is the power of data match. So look at what I wrote here. Know your tax information with IRS. Participate in Community CPA data match program to file accurate return. Okay, and so these are the things we actually do for you. So we do tax estimate and tax planning in the very beginning. So that is done. For 2022 tax return, we do that in November, December. Then we draft final return at this time in 2023. Then we will file extension with payment or without payment because we already drafted your return, right? And then we do data match in the summer. And generally speaking, IRS system get all completed. Majority of the data are completed by the end of July. So we normally start getting data draw in July and August. Then we will file your return. And after we did a data match, that's the only way I consider one can sleep well, as you know that it's done correctly. All right, folks. So that is what? Based on extension. If you don't file extension, there's no time to do data match. You may say, well, I can do it right now. But no, because 2022 data is not complete inside of IRS system. So you got to wait for the IRS system to catch up. So that's why extension is instrumental. It's not just to patch up on shortage of time. It is not your tax preparer doesn't know how to manage their workload. It is really strategically placed for the smart entrepreneur to take a huge advantage of this tool. And I encourage you to not only do that and making that a habit to do. And I will see you again on Saturday. And know that you can email us on Catherine@communitycpa.com. Catherine is our marketing manager. She also does a lot of research for me. It's amazing skills that she has. So all of my PowerPoint is actually originally would come from Catherine and other partners. Then I will review that, then present it to you. So I hope you don't see any Chinglish spellings on there. Occasionally I do. But, that's just me. I'm not perfect, but I try my best to deliver the most useful knowledge to you. And I will see you again. Bye-bye.